So I want to talk about the word power. I want to share this phrase with you. And I want you to see how it resonates with you. It's you are purposed to be powerful. When you hear that statement, what does it mean to you? That you, yes, are purposed to be powerful. That means everything that you do, there is power in what you do and who you are. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, you can just write this down or put it in your own notes, is do you believe in your own power? Oftentimes we don't. We shy away from it. I'm going to talk more about this, but we shy away from our power. We don't believe that we are powerful. And oftentimes the reason that you don't have the things that you desire is because you don't believe in the power that is in you. Okay, that could preach a word in and of itself. So I want you to think of that. Do you believe and do you own your power? And then when you hear that statement as it applies to you, what is the first word that comes to mind when you think of your own power? So again, write that down, put it in the chat because I would love to hear kind of what you're thinking or how this is resonating with you. But in the meantime, as I talk more about this statement of power, there's really two definitions, two ways that we can view this word power, right? And so one of them is the ability, the capability to influence those around us. So when we walk into our power, are we influencing those around us? Do we have the power to influence? So that's one definition of that we're going to talk about. And the other definition is the strength, the force in our power. So thinking of when you walk into a room, do you have that strength and that force within you? Not in a bad way, but in a good way, where it's like this light, this brightness around you. So the first one is when you're walking in the state of purpose, the great thing about that is that it creates this force, this momentum around you where you can get people to buy into what you're doing, to what you're saying, because you believe and are operating in your purpose. And the other is this strength, this power that when times are tough, because the one thing the misconception I share about purpose is that we think that once we walk into it, once we know it, that it's rainbows, unicorns, sunshine the whole way through. And you know me, I'm gonna keep it real. It is not the case. It is challenging, right? Because it's life. And there are things that are thrown at you in life that can make your purpose challenging. There could be saying, hey, this is what I know. My business, I know that I'm purposed to be in this space, right? My corporate career, I know that I'm going to purpose to be in this space. But you can have failures, right? You can have, things that don't work the way you thought they would. You can have a reduction in force, right? And that impacts you. And sometimes when we don't believe in our power, when we don't have that strength, those things can knock us down. I would encourage you to think when you have the strength and the power in you that, yes, I will have tough times, but I will endure. I will persevere. So that's another good word to write down. So we talk about power, and I want you to kind of meditate on that as it applies to you. But another word is persevere, right? Thinking of challenges that you're facing right now that you're having to persevere for, that you're going to have to leverage that power for. Make a note of that, right? Because it's all about reminding yourself of your strength. I don't have this in my notes, but I want to talk about this because it just came into my spirit here, is reminding yourself of your strength. Oftentimes we can get bogged down by the day-to-day that we feel like we've lost ourselves, right? I'm in this space. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm challenged. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know. And then we start to pull away from our own superpowers, our own strengths that are within us. And so I want you to think about your strength. Think about what makes you unique. Think about where you can own your power and your strength. And think, what can you start to do to document that, right? So make a list of those things that really make you shine, that really make you unique. Because I can tell you, once you get in that space, once you start to own that, oh man, oh man, once you start to own your strengths, there is true power in doing that. So that's another homework assignment I'm going to give you is to start to think and meditate on your strengths. Okay, let's talk more about this power. There are ways that we can lose our power because you may be saying to me, Michelle, I feel like I've lost my way, lost my power, lost my purpose. And I want to talk about things that we do. So, hey, here's my power, here's my super force, my strength, ability, influence. I've got this that I'm running toward. But then there's things that you can do that pull you away from that light, that power that is within you. And things that we do that chip away over time and then can then make you feel powerless at the end of the day. And so the first one is saying, I don't know. And we get in this habit of saying, I don't know. I don't know my purpose. I don't know what I'm passionate about. I don't know my next step in my career. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And that may be the case, right? But the more time you pour into your spirit that you don't know, you pour negative energy in that space of knowing. Like you pour negative energy in your ability to control. Let's talk about control the things around you, controlling events, controlling people around you. You lose your ability to control those things around you because the words I don't know make you feel powerless and not in control. That you're waiting on things to happen to you instead of taking control of things happening around you. So you may say, but I don't know, Michelle. Well, I'm going to give you a 3-letter word that can change the power in that statement. Can have you go from lack of control to owning and controlling the things around you. And that 3-letter word is very simple. It's the word yet. I share this with clients that I work with because it is so important to take ownership of I don't know. So when you say I don't know yet, you turn this negative, powerless statement into something you can control, something where you can gain power, something that now you can take ownership that I can control the outcome of things around me. And it's just with that simple word, yet. So whenever there are times that you're going through situations and you say, I don't know, and we can get in just the habit of saying, I don't know, I don't know. When you change that word and make it instead of a question, a statement of I don't know yet, you really then start to say, I will find out, right? So instead of I don't know yet, but I can find out, I will find out. I'm determined to find out. So just that one statement can help you regain the power in your purpose. Another thing that we do, and again, all of these things I'm guilty of. So it's position heal thyself. I have been there. And so I'm really giving you, as I call the cheat codes, to helping you on your journey of purpose discovery. And so the other thing I want you to think of is situations you may be in right now where you may have to take an assignment that may not be aligned to your purpose. You may have to take on a role because of life and life gets in the way, and that is okay. I posted something about power and purpose the other day, and someone shared with me, she said in the comments, I feel like life has happened and I've abandoned my purpose because I have to take on an assignment really because I've got to still, pay bills. I got to eat. I got to do these things. And so because of that, I feel like I've lost my way. And I share with her, and as I share with you, is that that's okay that you have to take these temporary assignments, right? Your purpose is not a one-time thing, a one and done. Like, well, you missed that moment, so now you've lost your way. It is your life, right? And there are times that you're going to have to take on assignments, that you're going to take on projects, that you're going to have to take on roles to help you manage through the life, to take that burden and that stress off of life for that time period. And that's okay because that's temporary. So I want you to think of if you have these temporary assignments, don't get lost feeling like I've lost my way. Just realize it for what it is. Take that moment for what it is, and that's a temporary assignment. So what you can do in that temporary assignment is start to think about how will I transition out of it, right? It's temporary, so it's not meant to be forever. But what happens is we can get stuck in it feeling forever because we don't make any moves or any actions to move out of that temporary space. And so we feel like we've lost our power, we lost our strength, we lost our purpose because we've made a temporary assignment longer than it needs to be. Ooh, okay. I love y'all. So hopefully I am not stepping on any toes. But if I do, crunch, crunch, because this may be what you need to hear. That you've made a temporary assignment longer than it needs to be because you got stuck there and you didn't plan for, okay, this is acknowledging it for what it is, but now let me think of what I need to do to move. And if you've been there, that's okay, because I'm gonna tell you another thing that we could do to lose our power. So again, staying longer in those temporary assignments and having a all or nothing mentality can make you lose your power. Why is that? Because we feel like I've got to do it all. And if I'm not doing it all, I'm not doing anything, right? If I'm not doing it all, then, I can't focus, right? I've got to be able to sit down, give me 3 weeks, and then I'll plan and do it all. And I'll share with you, I think this all or nothing, all or all in or not in or something like that. I want you to, and this is something my fitness group, we talk about, and I love this statement. It's all or something, right? It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It's all or something. Because what that something does is it gives you a little bit of momentum. Instead of just waiting, instead of just, okay, I don't have, 5 hours of the day, but you get 30 minutes of the day, leveraging that 30 minutes to do something. Have you ever been just sitting there? Okay, I'm speaking to myself. You're sitting there, right? Watching TV or scrolling through social media. And I tell you, social media, you can spend easily 30 minutes scrolling through social media. And all of a sudden you look at the time and you go, oh, how did 30 minutes just pass by? You're just scrolling. You can leverage that 30 minutes to do something. So if you're in that space where you said, I've spent too long here, what's something I can do? Doesn't have to be, and sometimes we get into this space and we try to boil the ocean. We try to do everything. And if we can't do everything, we get discouraged and I don't do it. It's like, I don't want you to boil the ocean. I just want you to take one little pot. What's that pot that you can take and just focus on that one little pot? And then once you have that pot boiled, then get another little pot. Do that. Focus on that one little pot. And then once you get that pot boiled, then you focus on another. It's taking this all or something mentality, because what that's going to do is give you momentum. That's the key word we're looking for in terms of regaining our power is the word momentum. What are little things that you can do to help you regain that momentum, regain that power, regain that strength? And again, I've been there, right? So, which is why I've tried to do 100 things. And then I was like, oh, Michelle, that's not going to work. And I still have to kind of scale back, Michelle, just do a few, which is why I try to keep my to-do list, my daily to-do list, very short. I try to have just a few items on it, because I know that if I can complete those few items, and I love to see a check mark. Okay, good. 1, 2, 3. And then some of the extra, allow time for miscellaneous, allow time for, the not fire drills, but the things that happen that you don't plan. But I try to keep it where it's something that I can do so that at the end of the day, I feel accomplished. And then the next day, I add a few items, as well as anything I didn't complete the day before. But all the thing is just doing something, get in the habit of doing something. So those are things that can cause you to lose your power. So then you say to me, Michelle, and I just want to see so far, like, is this resonating with you? So put in the comments. I would love to see your comments on, is this resonating with you? Is this making sense? Is there anything that I've shared so far that you are like, yes, Michelle, you were spot on? If so, put it in the comments, because I would love to see your feedback. Love to have your feedback here. Okay, cool. I see some yeses. This is on point. I love it. Okay, great. Then I'm going to talk to you now about regaining your power, regaining your strength. Oh, let me go here to some more of these comments. Okay, good. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. I see you all for joining today. Um, so now I want to talk about regaining. So as one of the things I mentioned before was the all, okay, good. Yes, definitely making sense. Always a plus. Now I want to talk about regaining your power. Right? So what is it going to take to regain your power? So again, as we talked about earlier, when we're talking about your power, it's your ability to influence the situation or people around you. Also, in that definition, we're talking about your strength, your force, that you are a force to be reckoned with. So we're going to talk about how do we pour back into our power if we've lost it? Because you could be like, Michelle, all of those things you said about losing your power, I've done. I've done the allowing a temporary assignment to be longer than it should be. I've done the I don't know. I've done the, allowing myself to be drained. I've done the all or nothing. And so I've done nothing. So now let's shift over to what is it going to take to regain your power? So as I mentioned before, really, there's a message that I'm sharing that I really want you to resonate. One of them today is taking this all or something approach. What's one thing that you can do? Because if you're in that space of the temporary, right? I've got to move. I know this is a short-term assignment. I need to move on. What's one thing that you can do each week? May not be a day, right? It may be just each week or each month to move the needle to getting to where you desire to be. Another thing is this exploratory phase. I love exploratory because oftentimes life gets in the way, and we don't allow ourselves opportunities to try new things. We don't allow ourselves opportunities to explore our passion. We don't allow ourselves opportunities to explore our purpose if we feel like we've lost our way or we don't know what it is. And so because we don't know, we stay in that space and we don't allow exploration. I love exploration because it gives you a time to try new things. It's funny, right? As kids, and I have two nephews that I adore. They are my little peanuts, as I call them, a 9 and a 3-year-old. But the 9-year-old, and even the 3-year-old, they're trying new stuff with him. But the 9-year-old, my brother said, I just want to expose him to so many different things so he can say what he likes. Like my brother is a diehard sports fan, right? Loves football, loves basketball, and any sport. My brother is in love with. Huge 49ers fan, football. But he says, I don't want to project what I love on my son. So I want him to try different things so he can find out what he likes. He might not like basketball, which he doesn't really care for. My nephew doesn't really care for. He may not like football. My nephew doesn't really care for football, but he likes playing the drums. He likes swimming. He likes doing other things. He loves artwork. He loves, engineering, science stuff. And so my brother's like, I want to give him those opportunities to explore his passion. And as parents, you may do that for your children. Like instead of forcing what you want on them, you want to give them opportunities to explore so they can find what they love. But it's funny, as adults, we don't always do that because we feel like, well, I should know at this age, right? And sometimes we too can be like, I'm not sure what I love. I'm not sure what I'm passionate about. Well, start exploring. Take time to say, I'm going to go through, so I call it an exploration phase. Because what you do in that exploration phase is you regain, guess what? Power. Because instead of being controlled by the situation around you, you start to take ownership of those things around you. So what you can do from a hobbies perspective, just jot down things that come to your mind, right? In terms of hobbies or things that you've done before that brought you joy. Things when you were younger that you did that you really enjoyed doing. Make a list of those and start to write those down and say, okay, now how can I do just a little bit to explore? Is this something I enjoy from a hobbies or could it be a profession? From a professional standpoint, join networking groups, go to different networking professional organizations, go to their networking events, go to their trainings, take some online courses, but just try something new. That's all it is just taking a start and an end time to just explore. And then my favorite is talk to people. If you say, I really like this marketing, right? And I enjoy, creating marketing strategy. I enjoy social media. I enjoy creating digital content. I enjoy creating strategy for digital content, etc. Start to talk to people in that space Because the really cool thing is, if you think about it, you may not know someone directly, but I can guarantee you somebody you know knows somebody you need to know to help you in that exploration phase. But oftentimes, the reason we don't have it is we don't open our mouths to ask for it. So, what is that saying? Have not because you ask not. So, as you're going through that exploration phase, think, who do I know that can help me? Because I can guarantee you there is someone who knows someone who can help you get to where you desire to be. So, in that exploration phase, we gain power because we start to take control of the things around us that can help us on our journey of purpose discovery. And as I mentioned before, talk to your network. Very simple. Talk to your network. I remember when I was younger in my career, oh man, when you're young and you just do stuff because you're young and you don't know any better, that's like the best phase in your career. And I remember I was coming off of a leadership program, the HR leadership development program at Siemens. And so the next thing they were doing was assigning me to my full-time role. So I just finished the leadership program and now it's like, okay, what's next? And I remember looking through who were all the HR directors and above at that time. And I think I maybe even reached out to managers too. And I just set up like 30-minute calls just as a meet and greet, just to get to know them, what they do, get to know their background. And it, maybe a couple of days, maybe a week or so worth of time. And it was just 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. And what I did in that space was invaluable in terms of building my credibility, getting people to know who I was. And then when it was time for me to find full-time placement, so many of the HR leaders are like, oh, I know Michelle, I want her to work with me. I want her to work with me. I want her to work for me. Because I just taken some time to invest in getting to know people. And as a result, that helped build relationships that helped me in my career. Not just that one moment, trust and believe, that helped build credibility longer in my career in that organization. But it's tapping into your network, opening up your mouth. People, I tell you this, I'm gonna tell you this, freebie, this is for free. People like to talk about themselves. It's just that simple, right? So if you just spend, and I say always ask for 15 and allow them to give you 30, but always ask for 15 because most people can give you 15 minutes of their time, get to know them, get to share and see, okay, how can this help me in my purpose discovery journey? So that one, again, was for free, but it is just something that we can do as we start to gain power in our purpose. And the two more things is the next thing is, as I talked about, spending time celebrating you, right? So we talked about kind of your strengths and your superpower. This was earlier in the video, but spend time celebrating your successes. Spend time celebrating your wins, celebrating your strengths and your superpowers. Create that list and every now and then reference it because things can happen in our careers where maybe you did not do well on a project. Maybe you did not handle that employee situation the way you had hoped, right? Maybe you didn't handle that client the way you had hoped, right? And it didn't go the way you planned. Went in your mind the way it was supposed to go, but then in reality, it didn't work out that well. It's okay. Recover from it. But one thing that can help you build back your power is referencing your successes before to be like, oh, yes, I am not a failure. Oh, yes, there are things that I have done. And let me remind myself of the strengths and the power that I have. Because I can make mistakes here or there, but that does not define me as a person, as a professional. Make sense? So I create a list in trust and believe I have to reference that list. I need to go back to this. I used to create I had a folder and I used to put when I would get good emails, like Michelle, you did a great job. Michelle did it. I would put them in a folder. And then every now and then I would reference the emails in that folder. I need to do that again. Feel free to do that too, because it's a way to build up the power that is within you. And the final thing I'll say here to regain your power, to regain your strength is, this is so good, is to focus on something bigger than you. If you think your life and your journey of purpose is just about you, I can tell you now, you are missing the mark. It is bigger than you. You are meant to have impact on others, greater and far of a reach than just yourself. So start to think about, start to surrender to the bigger than you. So I am, very clear on my faith, my Christian faith, and that anchors me, right? And so when I have those moments of doubt or lack of clarity, I'm going to anchor on the word of God. I'm going to do my prayer and my meditation, and I'm going to allow that to feed into my spirit, because that's where I gain my power. So whatever it is from you, from a bigger standpoint, however you define bigger, make sure you have that anchoring point. Because if you don't and you allow life to move you, life will move you. But if you have an anchor that, yes, there's something bigger than me that I can meditate, that I can pray, that I can worship, that I can surrender to, it can anchor you when life tries to sway you one way or the other. So very important to think of, and regaining your power is to regain your power in something bigger than yourself. Okay, so we have talked a lot. I have talked a lot. I'm going to do another quick check on the comments, just making sure I didn't miss anything. If there are any questions on what I've shared so far, if you're like, Michelle, what about this? Please put those in the chat. I'm just going to do a quick, oh, yay. I'm glad that I'm spot on, making sense. And I see some comments about not letting anyone stop you from pursuing your passion. Any questions, again, you can put those in the chat. I'll make sure that I don't miss any of those questions, because I want to make sure that I am answering before I hop off today. So good. All right. And again, you always can message me, or if you're watching the replay, because I know some people will watch the replay later, you can put your comments in the replay, and I will be sure to revisit those and come back as I every now and then check the comments to see if there's anything that I missed. But as I started this interview, or started this conversation, is about power. And I shared with you that you are purposed to be powerful and all that you do. And I had you all write down, what does that mean to you? That statement, if you were to own that statement, live and breathe that statement, what does it mean for you? What does it mean for you to be powerful? If you walk into that space and you start to own it, what does it feel like to you? And how can you get more of it? So I would encourage you to, again, keep this session on the back burner, because there may be times where you start to lose focus. There may be times where you start to get in your own way. There may be times where you start to lose your power. Come back to this and allow it to fuel and recharge your spirit and recharge you along your way. So again, Michelle Glover, I so appreciate you joining me this Friday for this LinkedIn Live. Stay tuned for more of these sessions as I talk power in your purpose. All right, everyone, have a great weekend, and bye for now.